We're here with Ricky Gervais, and we are asking him questions submitted by the readers of Time Magazine and Time.com. So, Ricky, here are the questions.
I will hear them, yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
I'm not going to rag on this guy, but Dave Collins in Melbourne has submitted... I don't even know how this softball made it through the internet. Ricky, what's the worst thing about being the funniest man on earth?
See, I couldn't criticise a discerning gentleman like that. He's obviously got taste. Well, what's his name again?
Dave.
Well, Dave, the worst thing about being the funniest man on earth is that very few people on that planet agree with you. That's the thing about comedy. People say to me, oh, God, you know, everyone loves The Office. I went, no, they don't. No, they don't. No, more people hate The Office than like it. Obviously. Luckily, you don't need everyone on the planet to like you. So, you know, you do your comedy for you and like-minded people. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and some people don't find me beautiful, which is, yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people think I've got a nose like coal mould and crooked green teeth, fat little face. But they don't see me as I do. In my head, I look a bit like Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I'm walking down the street thinking, yeah, oh yeah. And then I get a reflection, I go, oh, fuck. You brought the whole tone down, go on.
Okay. Nicole in Houston. How did you change The Office to fit an American audience? What types of gags were left on the cutting room floor?
Well, the quick answer is I didn't change it to fit an American audience. They did. Initially, they wanted myself and Stephen to direct it, and at one point they thought I could play the new David Brent, which I thought was bizarrely pointless. We purposely didn't get too involved because we thought it should be made by Americans for Americans. And so, after the initial meetings, when we worked out what the equivalent of Slough was, and you know why David Brent was a funny person, and it was after the first season all their own work. You know, there was a little cynicism that they were better at their job, they were still more dynamic, and I think, well, American offices are more dynamic than English offices. You know, you can survive, you can retire in England having not done anything. You just keep your head down and you know, not be discovered. And Americans have got whiter teeth. I think Steve Carell is brilliant. I mean, just the funniest, hardest working person in TV in Hollywood. And now he's a megastar, and I think he's earned over $2 billion since we've been sitting here. But it could now to a nicer bloke.
But you get 70% of that.
I get 70% of all his earnings until he's 60. And then it phases out, it goes down until he dies.
Rodney Rice. Why did you end the original Office after only 2 short seasons?
We put everything into it. It's so dense. You know, it's a big, thick meat sandwich, The Office, and, you know, we wanted it to be like that because we wanted to do comedy that was as good on the 10th viewing as on the first. So we really packed in everything, and we tried to, you know, absolutely put everything we had into it. And also, it became a franchise anyway. You know, The Office, it's still shown in its original format in 90 countries.
What would you care to say about the quality of the jokes in the German Office?
Well, it's a bit controversial actually, because they did it without asking us, and then denied it was based on it, and it was like ridiculous. And then they went, okay, it may be a bit like yours. And they handed over the marks. Yeah, but he's a... It looked very good. Obviously, I couldn't understand what they were saying, but it looked great.
But and who wouldn't be funny in German? So I'm sure it's, it's absolutely fine.
Racist.
That's not racist. That's historically accurate anti-nationalism.
It's not like the Germans to take something that wasn't theirs. You made me do it now.
Well. Tom Hale, New York City. It's grammatically incorrect. I'll read it anyway. Who would fire who? David Brent or Michael Scott?
I love it. You pulled up someone on their grammar. Poor bloke.
I expect the M at the end.
No,
of
read it as it should. Read it as it should be read. Go on.
Who would fire who? That's what he says. It's whom. Who would fire whom? Is it correct?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Who would fire whom?
Yeah.
David Brent or Michael
Why did you
Scott?
embarrass him? Why didn't you pretend he wrote that?
I should have pretended, but I don't know Tom Hale.
Who would fire who? Oh, I think Michael Scott would fire Brent. I think Michael Scott's probably slightly better at his job than David Brent. It's quite an interesting question actually, because the English office, they're bigger losers, I think. It's slightly more existential than the American one, and not too many good things can happen to the English lot. And again, that is a direct parallel between our two nations. Americans are brought up to believe they can become the next president of the United States. British people are told it won't happen to you. You know, you love success. We sort of look at successful. We sort of like, oh, well done. Then we go, like that. How did they get their money? You know, don't leave your Rolls Royce out on the street because it'll be scratched.
Your interview with Gary Shandling was notoriously awkward. What do you think the problem was? Were you disappointed with the results?
No, I loved it. I enjoyed the day, and we left it all in because it was that was the real meeting, and it really went like that. I don't know why I said this. I was nervous about meeting him, okay? And I knew I shouldn't have brought it up, but I pointed out that he looked a bit like Bingo from the Banana Splits. And then he said he didn't know who that was. And then I even got one of his assistants to go and print out a picture of him. And I went, oh, I said, and as I got it, I said, oh, this is really insulting, isn't it? He went, let's have a look. He went, no, why would that be insulting? And I thought it was just a ridiculous thing for an interviewer to do. To say to a man, you look like one of the Banana Splits, and then compound it by showing him a picture of what is the weirdest looking animal type thing that's ever existed, and saying he looked like that. And he's a hero of mine. So I apologise. Am I boring you?
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, no. You didn't see me
I'm
just...
boring me.
You didn't see me just...
Can you edit this and make me look articulate?
No, we don't have editing equipment.
Okay. I mean, I know for a fact you'll point out any grammatical mistakes.
Well, yes, that is actually true. Gina in Cape Town. How did it feel to win an Emmy but not be at the ceremony?
I felt a little bit disappointed, actually. I couldn't make it. I was playing the Albert Hall, and I really didn't think we'd win. But I'm glad I wasn't there in the sense that Steve Carell's acceptance speech was just the best I'd ever seen in an award ceremony. The way he ran up like he'd won, and he just lost. And to do that was great. We won an Emmy last year for the American office, and I went along to the luxury lounge with my girlfriend for the first time. We were going around there. All the Sopranos were there, Helen Mirren, and I was a little bit awkward at first, thinking, I can't go round. It's like millionaires walking around getting free sunglasses. But I got over that, and I got this really lovely pair, and I was trying them on, and they were sort of big and glamorous, and I thought, yeah, I look pretty good. Maybe look a bit like Elvis. And I heard a voice behind me go, you've got to be kidding me. You look like a gay ant. And it was Richard Lewis. Why would he say that to me? I mean, why would he say that? I thought it looked great. And I went, yeah. See you later, mate. Can I have these? I took them.
What does Richard Lewis know? He's been wearing the same thing for 40 years.
I'm the queen of the nest now. I secretly tried to look at my watch, but I realised I'm on camera. That's so rude. I'm sorry. I went like that. I sort of tried to fiddle with it, and I thought, well, I can't get away with this because it's being filmed. No, go on.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's great. Why don't we lock the doors and we'll ask all of them? Just as penance for that.
Oh dear.